They saw him as a poor farmer with dust on his feet and sweat on his brow. But what no one knew was that beneath the rough clothes stood the only son of the king, a prince searching not for riches, but for true love. And in the heart of the Ibadan marketplace, among baskets of tomatoes and cries of bargaining women, fate would lead him to a girl whose honesty would shake the kingdom. The palace of Oyo glimmered with gold, yet Prince Adewale felt trapped inside its walls. Every feast, every gathering, every woman introduced to him carried the same hunger in their eyes, not for his heart, but for his crown. He had once asked his father, King Oladapo, "Father, how can I find a woman who loves me for who I am, and not for what I own?" The old king chuckled, sipping palm wine. "My son, sometimes to see clearly, you must hide what blinds others. A man in plain clothes sees truths that a man in royal robes cannot." Those words struck Adewale like thunder. Days later, before the first cock crowed, he left the palace in disguise, no guards, no jewels, only a straw hat and torn sandals. The great market of Ibadan was alive with noise and color. Spices perfumed the air, drummers beat rhythms, and goats bleated as they darted between stalls. Adewale worked carrying baskets, hauling yams and peppers for traders. Sweat drenched his body, but he felt lighter than ever. For the first time, people barked at him, pushed him aside, tossed coins into his hand, treating him like every other man. He smiled to himself. This is freedom. This is truth. Then he saw her. She was not the most finely dressed, nor the loudest seller. Her stall was small, lined with tomatoes, onions, and fresh vegetables. But Amara had something different. "Take this one, Mama," she said to an old woman, lowering her price. "You need it more than I need the profit." The woman blessed her, and Amara only smiled. Intrigued, Adewale stepped closer. "How much for your tomatoes?" he asked, lowering his voice so she wouldn't recognize him. "2 for 5 naira," she said, then tilted her head, studying him. "But you look tired. Take 3 instead." Adewale frowned. "Why sell for less?" Amara shrugged. "Because kindness brings blessings. What's the use of riches if my neighbor goes hungry?" That answer lit something in his heart. Days turned into weeks, and Adewale returned again and again. Sometimes he bought vegetables, other times he helped her lift baskets or arrange goods. "Why are you always helping me?" Amara asked one afternoon. "Because kindness deserves kindness," he replied. Amara chuckled. "Then you'll be busy all your life." "I help everyone." Their bond grew, not of wealth, not of beauty, but of simple respect. Adewale admired how she treated beggars like kings and customers like family. But not everyone admired her. Ngozi, a market girl famed for her beauty and sharp tongue, noticed Adewale's attention. One day she sneered, "Why waste time with Amara? She has nothing but dirty vegetables. Come with me, I can give you more." Amara only smiled politely, but Adewale saw the hurt flicker in her eyes. Later, he asked her, "Why didn't you answer her?" "Because words are like wind," Amara said softly. "They pass. If I fight every insult, I'll lose my peace." Her wisdom cut deeper than gold. At night, Adewale lay under the stars outside the market, torn. If she knew I was a prince, would she still look at me the same? Or would she become like the rest, chasing wealth instead of love? He decided to keep his secret hidden a little longer. But destiny had other plans. Soon, a single test would expose Amara's true heart, and change both their lives forever. The days in the bustling Ibadan market blended together, yet for Adewale, each one felt alive with discovery. Every morning he carried yams, balanced baskets, and helped merchants bargain with customers. But his true joy came when he approached Amara's stall. Sometimes she greeted him with a laugh, other times with a story about her childhood, or even a proverb passed down by her late mother. "Do you know what my mother used to say?" Amara smiled one afternoon as they arranged peppers. "The heart that gives is the heart that never lacks." I didn't understand it as a child, but now I do. Giving never made us poor, it made us rich in peace. Adewale listened closely. He was used to women asking about his palace, his wealth, his crown. Yet here was a woman who never cared about riches, only kindness. But the market was not free of envy. Ngozi, the sharp-tongued beauty, grew restless. She noticed how often the poor farmer lingered at Amara's stall. "Why her?" she hissed to her friends. "What does she have that I don't? Tomatoes? Kindness? Ha!" Her gossip spread. Soon, some merchants began to laugh whenever Adewale passed. "Look at him, following that girl like a goat. He works all day and spends it all on her vegetables." Adewale ignored them, but he noticed Amara's cheeks burn whenever the whispers grew loud. One evening, as they packed her stall, he said gently, "Do the rumors bother you?" Amara sighed. "Sometimes. I am only human. But I remind myself, they don't know my heart. They see with envy, not with truth." Her strength amazed him. "She is more royal than half the palace women I know," Adewale thought. Then came a stormy market day. Dark clouds swallowed the sky, and rain fell in angry sheets. Merchants scrambled to cover their goods, shouting and cursing as water drenched their stalls. Amara rushed to shield her tomatoes with worn mats, his clothes soaking as he held a leaking roof over her stall. "You'll fall sick," she cried, water dripping from her braids. "Then we'll fall sick together," he laughed. In that moment, as thunder cracked above them, Adewale realized his heart had already chosen Amara. But he still needed proof that her kindness was not just words, but truth even when gold was at her feet. The next day, Adewale prepared a plan. From the palace treasury, he secretly borrowed a single gold coin, rare, heavy, and gleaming brighter than sunlight. It was worth more than most merchants earned in a month. At the market, while pretending to help a trader, Adewale let the coin slip from his pocket near Amara's stall. It landed on the ground with a faint clink. Immediately, eyes darted to it. Ngozi's hand twitched. A man nearby muttered, "Ah! Whoever picks that will not suffer again." But Amara noticed it too. Her eyes widened, and she quickly picked up the coin. The crowd watched, holding their breath. Would she pocket it? Would she pretend it was hers? Instead, Amara ran forward, calling, "Sir! Sir! You dropped this." Adewale turned, pretending to be confused. "Dropped what?" "This." She held out the gold coin with both hands. "It's not mine. It belongs to you." The market fell silent. Some gasped, others whispered, "Foolish girl. That coin could have fed her for years." But Adewale felt his heart swell. "This is it. This is the truth I needed." He took the coin slowly, looking into her honest eyes. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Not everyone would have done this." Amara only shrugged. "Keeping what isn't mine brings curses, not blessings." Ngozi, who had been watching with burning envy, could not hold her tongue. "You see? That's why you'll stay poor, Amara," she spat. "Who in their right mind returns gold? You think blessings will fill your stomach? You think kindness will build you a house?" The crowd chuckled nervously. Some nodded in agreement. But Amara stood firm. She placed her hand on her chest and said, "I may not have riches, but I have peace. And peace is something no coin can buy." The words silenced the crowd. Even Ngozi faltered. Adewale wanted to embrace her right there, to tell her the truth, to lift her above the mockery. But he restrained himself. The time was not yet right. Meanwhile, back at the palace, King Oladapo was growing impatient. "My son must marry," the king declared before his council. "The people demand a queen. Too long has he delayed." The councillors nodded. One suggested a princess from Lagos, another mentioned a noblewoman from Ife. But the king raised his hand. "No. We will hold a grand feast. Let every maiden of Oyo come. My son will choose with his own eyes." Messengers spread the news. The city buzzed with excitement. Women rushed to buy fine clothes, jewelers polished gold, and tailors worked through the night. Even in the market, talk of the feast filled the air. Ngozi boasted loudly, I will be chosen. Just wait. No prince can resist me. Amara only smiled quietly, thinking little of it. She had no gown, no jewels, and no reason to dream of palaces. But Adewale knew the day of truth was near. That night, Adewale sat alone, torn between two worlds. If I reveal myself, will Amara still see me as the man she met? Or will she change, like the others? He clenched the gold coin in his hand. But no, she returned this without hesitation. She proved her heart is pure. Perhaps, she is the one destiny prepared for me. Still, he feared. A wrong choice would not only break his heart, but disappoint the kingdom. As he lay under the stars, the words of his father echoed. Sometimes, to see clearly, you must hide what blinds others. He whispered, Father, I have seen clearly. Now the world will too. The eve of the feast, the marketplace buzzed louder than ever. Women compared gowns, argued over jewelry, and imagined themselves queens. Ngozi boasted more than all, claiming she already had the prince's eye. Amara, however, went about her work as usual. She hummed while arranging vegetables, unbothered by the noise. Adewale approached her stall one last time in disguise. Will you go to the feast? He asked casually. Amara laughed. Me? No. I have no gown, no jewels, not even a pair of good shoes. Besides, princes don't notice girls like me. Adewale's chest ached. If only you knew. He almost told her the truth then, but he held back. Tomorrow, she would know everything. That evening, thunder rumbled again across the city, but this time it was not from rain. It was the restless anticipation of thousands waiting for the feast. Drums echoed from the palace, trumpets sounded in the distance, and the streets shimmered with lanterns. Adewale looked out from the palace balcony in his royal robes, clutching the same gold coin Amara had returned. Tomorrow, he would reveal himself. Tomorrow, he would show the world the heart he had chosen. But tomorrow would also test Amara in a way she never imagined. The palace glowed brighter than the stars that night. Torches lined the great courtyard, silk banners fluttered in the wind, and the air buzzed with laughter, drums, and the scent of roasted goat. Carriages arrived one after another, spilling out maidens dressed in shimmering gowns. Their hair glistened with cowries and beads, their wrists jingled with gold. Each one rehearsed her smile, her bow, her perfect greeting for the prince. Inside, the great hall was filled. Nobles sat at long tables, musicians played flutes, and the king himself sat on a throne carved from ivory. Beside him, Prince Adewale waited in royal robes, tall, broad-shouldered, and radiant. None of the guests recognized him as the man who had carried baskets in the market only days before. The king raised his hand, and the room fell silent. Tonight, he declared, my son will choose his bride. Let the maidens of Oyo step forward. The young women approached. First came Ngozi, her gown shining like moonlight. She swayed her hips proudly, bowing low before the prince. Your Highness, she purred, I am honored to stand before you. Choose me, and I will bring you beauty and charm. The crowd murmured, admiring her boldness. Next came the daughters of nobles, each boasting of their family wealth. My father owns 20 farmlands. My family will bring you cattle and gold. I am skilled in music and dance. The line stretched endlessly. Each maiden sparkled, each voice filled with confidence. But Adewale's face remained calm, unreadable. His eyes searched for one face, one that was not there. In the market, Amara sat quietly in her small hut, far from the noise of the feast. She hummed softly while sorting vegetables by lantern light. She had no gown, no jewelry, no dream of palaces. Her neighbor teased, why are you not at the feast? Tonight the prince may choose a queen. Amara chuckled. Queens are chosen from gold and beauty. I have neither. My place is here. But destiny was already knocking. Back in the hall, the last maiden finished her bow. Whispers rose as people waited. Which one would he choose? The most beautiful? The richest? Adewale rose slowly, his voice steady. I have listened. I have seen. Many of you spoke of wealth, beauty, and power. But none of these touch my heart. The crowd stirred. The maidens glanced at one another nervously. True beauty, Adewale continued, is not found in gowns or jewels, but in the heart. And there is only one woman whose heart I have tested, and whose honesty shines brighter than gold. Gasps erupted. Tested, people whispered. The king frowned, puzzled. My son, what do you mean? Adewale lifted his hand. From his pocket, he drew out a single gold coin, the very one Amara had returned. Its shine caught the firelight, dazzling the hall. This coin, Adewale declared, I dropped in the marketplace. Many saw it. Only one woman returned it, though it could have made her rich. That woman is the one I choose. The hall buzzed with shock. The maidens gasped. The nobles looked at each other in disbelief. Who is she? Voices shouted. Adewale smiled softly. Her name is Amara, a humble vegetable seller. Messengers were sent running through the streets. The crowd outside the palace swelled, curious and restless. In her hut, Amara nearly dropped her basket when soldiers appeared at her door. The prince requests your presence, one announced. Amara blinked. Me? Surely you are mistaken. But they led her to the palace, her simple dress damp with nervous sweat. She entered the hall, trembling under the stares of hundreds of nobles and maidens. Ngozi's jaw dropped. Her, she spat, her voice echoing. The vegetable girl? Impossible. The crowd laughed cruelly. Look at her clothes. She doesn't belong here. But Adewale stepped forward, his eyes warm. Amara gasped when she saw him in royal robes. Her knees weakened. You're the prince. Adewale smiled gently. Yes, Amara. The farmer you knew was me in disguise. I sought truth, not flattery. And in you, I found it. The hall erupted in murmurs. Some maidens wept in humiliation, others hissed in envy. Ngozi stomped her foot, shouting, This is madness. She is nothing. She has no land, no beauty fit for a queen. The king raised his hand, silencing all. He studied Amara for a long moment, then turned to his son. Is this truly your choice? Yes, father, Adewale said firmly. She has a heart of gold, even when gold lay at her feet. That is the woman I want by my side. The king's stern face slowly broke into a smile. Then so be it. Servants rushed forward, placing a silk cloak on Amara's shoulders. The crowd still buzzed in disbelief, but the decision was sealed. Adewale took Amara's trembling hand. You once told me peace cannot be bought with riches. Now, together, we will bring peace to this kingdom. Tears welled in Amara's eyes. I never imagined this. I only tried to do what was right. And that, Adewale said, is why you are worthy. But Ngozi could not accept it. She threw herself to the ground, wailing. You choose a peasant over me, over us? She will bring shame to this kingdom. The king's voice thundered. Silence. It is not wealth or beauty that sustains a kingdom, but integrity. And this girl has more than all of you combined. Ngozi fled the hall in tears, her pride crushed. The following week, the palace held another feast, this time not for choosing, but for celebrating. Amara, dressed in white silk, stood beside Adewale as chants and drums filled the air. The people of Oyo, once doubtful, now cheered. Long live Prince Adewale! Long live Queen Amara! Children sang, women danced, and even the nobles admitted the truth, kindness had won over gold. What do you think was the moral of the story?